friends, I am Miss Karen at Adams Memorial Library. Thank you for joining me for October's Bake-A-Tale. So the Bake-A-Tale program is one where we bake something yummy, hopefully yummy, and so we'll have recipes and a couple of stories and crafts that'll kind of fit the theme of the recipe. And for October, we're going to be talking about pumpkins. We'll be making pumpkin cookies, two kinds. Cookies with pumpkins and cookies that are shaped like pumpkins. So when you come to the library to get your kit, it'll have recipes for both kinds of cookies and some other crafts and things that you can do at home. So to get the kit, you can just come down to the children's room, or you could always call us and reserve a kit or however many you need, and we'll give it to you through curbside service, so you can get them that way too. And if you can't come into the library, you can always email me and I would be happy to send you the recipe. You can email at kids@adamslib.org and I can give you the recipe and the craft instructions that way. So we're doing pumpkin cookies. We're also doing pumpkin crafts. There's a pumpkin suncatcher and pumpkin bookmarks. This one's singing. This one's probably laughing. Maybe laughing at my drawing skills. And we're going to be doing witch houses. And maybe in this house is a witch who likes to bake, because that's what our stories are about this time. I have two stories to share with you this month, and one is a brand new story, and one is an oldie but a goodie story, but they both have witches who want to bake. And this first one is called Lila, the Perfect Witch. This is the news story, and it's written by Flavia Z. Drago. And earlier, Flavia Z. Drago had a story about a little ghost named Gustavo. So this is not really a sequel, but it takes place in Gustavo's world. And this story is about Lila and her sisters and her grandmother and her friends. Now, Lila is such a good witch. She is the fastest flyer. She is the best at changing shapes. She's the best pumpkin carver. So when she decides to enter a cake decorating contest, a cake baking contest, she thinks baking will be easy for her too. But guess what? As well I know, and you might too, sometimes baking is not that easy, and maybe she's going to need a little bit of help. This other story is a classic, Big Pumpkin. I love to read this every Halloween. And it's also about a witch who wants to bake something. Big Pumpkin was written by Erica Silverman and illustrated by S.D. Schindler. And this witch here decides she would really like some pumpkin pie this Halloween. So she's going to need a pumpkin. So she plants a pumpkin, and she thinks she wants a big pumpkin because she wants a lot of pumpkin pie. But a pumpkin grows to be so big that she can't get it off the vine by herself. It's just too heavy. She can't pull it off the vine. So this baking witch might need a little help too. So you can check out these books from the library and read them. You need a little inspiration for your baking or while you're waiting for your pumpkin cookies to bake. As always, friends, remember, always bake with an adult. This does require a hot oven to make the cookies. And so you always want to make sure you bake with somebody else, but I think it's fun to bake with somebody anyway, so you'll have fun and be safe at the same time. So to make these pumpkin cookies, these ones, they're kind of with pumpkin spice. So use some canned pumpkin. If you don't like things too spicy, you don't have to use all the spices. I did because I like cinnamon and nutmeg and cloves, but if you don't like one of those, you can just put in a little bit of spice or leave it out. It's up to you. You just mix up the dough and then put them on the cookie sheet by using spoons or cookie scoop. Did I say cookie sheet? You put them on the cookie sheet with your cookie scoop. Spread them out, bake them for a little while. Take them out, let them cool, and then you'll just put on this icing, just really simple little icing glaze. It has powdered sugar and milk on in it. After the cookies are cool, you can just drizzle the icing on top. Easy peasy. Now, every other time I've made these cookies have become kind of puffy. This time they're kind of flat. I'm not sure why. Maybe my butter was too warm when I made them. Maybe another reason, but they still taste good. So I can't tell you what kind of cookies you're going to get from this recipe. You might get round, puffy ones. You might get thin and chewy ones. But if you like pumpkin spice things, I think you'll like these cookies. Either way. For the other cookies, I used a recipe that we used in Bake-A-Tale before. If you did June's Bake-A-Tale, when we were doing Under the Sea and making starfish cookies, this is the same recipe. So we'll include it in your kits again this time. So it's a simple sugar cookie recipe. And I used the same sugar cookie recipe because I knew that one would work and it would be easy. And then I thought, I can make the cookie and then have the fun of decorating. Now I had a pumpkin cookie cutter. So if you have one of those, you can always use that to make pumpkin shaped cookies. If you don't, you can just use a round cookie cutter. You can put orange icing on, probably still look like a pumpkin. Or if you have any other kind of cookie cutter, you can use whatever kind you would like. But for these cookies, I use the icing that comes with the recipe. And first, I spread the icing on with just an offset kind of spatula. Spread it on that way. And then I use green sugar and orange sugar. So I decorated some that way. And I did learn a valuable lesson with this icing, which is let it dry for a long time, a lot longer than you might think, because I packed these up to bring them to the library too soon. And I kind of messed up this cookie. It did look very pretty. I'm sorry that you missed it. But to do this kind with lines, it had lines and squiggles before it got a little bit squashed. So remember to let it dry for a long time. You could even let it out for an hour or two to dry to make sure it's completely dry before you try to transport them or even put them in a container, because that's how the icing came off this one a little bit. But to do these designs, I mixed some orange food coloring. I put some red food coloring and yellow food coloring. I used the kind of recipe on the box to make orange, and I made it in just a little bowl. And then I dipped a toothpick in that orange food coloring, and I spread the white icing on the cookie, and then used the orange on the toothpick and just sort of swirled it around a little bit. I did some pumpkin lines. I did curlicues. So you can decorate that way if you would like. And I used green sugar again. And then I took that orange food coloring and put it into my white icing to make orange icing. And I think the next time I do it, I'm probably going to put some more food coloring in to make it a little darker. But I use the orange food coloring, green sugar, and then chocolate chips to make a face. Or on some of them, I just used orange sprinkles on top of the orange icing and made them like a pumpkin that way. Now, as I said, I just spread the icing on. If you used a little bag, if you put some icing in a Ziploc bag and snipped off the one corner, the end, you could probably pipe lines like on a pumpkin. You could do it that way. You could get fancier. I would love to see how you're decorating. So if you want, you can take a picture and send it to me, or come in and show me the picture of how your pumpkin cookies turned out when you come to the library. So I would love to see them. So good luck with decorating your cookies. Friends, another important thing for this craft is to cover your workspace. You'll need to put down some paper or newspaper or plastic or something, because this is what happens when you do the craft. The color will come out. You do not want this to come on your table or your floor, something like that. So put some paper underneath, and then when you're coloring, it'll just get on the paper or the plastic instead. So that's the first step. Cover up your workspace. Then, and get from your kit the coffee filters will be inside, and this orange pumpkin frame that Miss Andrea was kind enough to draw for us. Is what you're going to do is color your filter, and then you're going to cut out the frame, and the filter is going to be in this part in the middle. So the first thing you do, well, the second thing, because first you've covered your workspace, the second thing you're going to do is color on the filter with whatever you have at home. I use crayons and I use markers. So the crayons, the colors don't blend quite as much, but it'll still look nice. You can hang up that way. And colors still just blend a little bit, so it almost makes it look kind of foggy. After you've colored however you like, you can just make a plain design like this, or you can try making a face too if you'd like. The next thing you do is take some water and wet the coffee filter. I use this little paintbrush because I didn't want too much water to go on at once. You want to dampen it and make the colors blend, but you don't want the colors to run off altogether by dumping a lot of water on it. So using the paintbrush, I could just do it gently. I didn't have to worry about tearing the coffee filter, and I didn't have to worry about too much water coming on at once. So you can color them with markers if you have them, and blend the colors that way with the water. You can color with crayons and wet that coffee filter also and let the colors blend that way, but it also flattens out the coffee filter, which is easier for putting it in your frame. So after you've colored and then wet the coffee filter, you put it aside to let it dry. And while it's drying, you can work on cutting out your frame. So you're going to cut the outside of the frame, and then you need to cut this inside part. And to do that, I sort of folded it like this and made a cut with the scissors in the middle. And then once I had a cut, I put the scissors in, and then I trimmed this part off, which is how you'll see your coffee filter. Once your coffee filter is dry and you have your frame cut out, you will glue or tape the coffee filter onto the back of the frame. And you can decide which is the front and the back. If you want the black line to show, you can do it this way. If you don't want the black line to show, you can turn the paper over and have that be your front. So you attach your coffee filter, and then you just trim the excess away, the part that sticks out from the frame. And once you're done with that, you can hang it up on a window and enjoy the light coming through your pumpkin sun catcher. The next thing we'll be making are these pumpkin corner bookmarks. See, it fits right on the corner of your page like that. And this design is from Red Ted Art. And I've actually used Miss Maggie's designs before because I really like the art that she makes. We actually made corner bookmarks one time before for Bake a Tale. We made apple bookmarks when we were doing apple cake. This one's are going to be pumpkins. All the corner bookmarks start out the same with the same folds. So it'll just go right on your corner. And then you can kind of customize it for whatever you'd like. You can make it into an apple. In this case, you can make it into a pumpkin. In your kits will be squares of orange paper. So that's what you're going to start with. Start the folding. It's not too much folding. It's pretty easy. You'll start with the square and then fold it in half to make a triangle. So that's the first thing. Take it, make it a triangle. The next thing you'll do is take the outer corners of the triangle, the long part on the bottom and a point at the top. You take one corner and fold that up to the center here, to the top of the triangle. And you'll take the other one and do the same thing. And then you're going to have a kind of a kite shape, a diamond. Open that back up again, so you'll have the fold lines there. But you're going to do something else first before you use those fold lines again. There's a front and back of the paper at the top. You're going to fold the front flap down, one triangle down like this to the bottom. And then you're going to fold these back in, the outside, and sort of tuck them into this little pouch here. You will take this, fold it again on the line you already made, and you'll tuck the outer corner part inside like that. And then you will have this shape. Then the next thing that Miss Maggie says to do, once you have it like this with the little pouch, you're actually going to undo it again and glue it down, because we're going to cut it a little bit to make the pumpkin shape, and you don't want it to all fall apart. So that's why you'll glue it. So You can do one side at a time. You can put some glue here and here and here, and then fold it back in again. The glue won't dry that fast. You can use a glue stick. It'll give you enough time to refold it. Do that on both sides, and you might have to hold it in place a little bit, and then it'll be ready to cut it out to make a pumpkin. Now, this part with the pouch is going to be the top. That's the part that goes on your book, and it's going to be the top of your pumpkin. If you're good enough at cutting circles, you can just cut a circle out. If you're not so good, like me, you'll need to find something round, like a glass or a water bottle, something like that. You want it to be not just a little bit smaller than this design. So you trace your circle and then cut it out. So you'll have this shape. If it does sort of fall apart anywhere, you can add more glue or you can tape it on. We'll put some green paper in your kit also, and you can use that to make a stem or a top of a pumpkin like this. And then you can use whatever you have. If you have crayons or markers at home, you can decorate. You can put a face on. You can decorate your pumpkin however you would like, and then it's ready to mark your page in the book. Friends, I gotta tell you, I'm really quite taken with these little witch houses. I enjoyed making these a lot. So in your kit will be some different colored craft sticks. We'll put a few in, and you can decide if you want to use 3 of the same color, 3 different colors. Up to you. I did both. Sometimes I did different, sometimes I did the same. But what you will do with these is make a triangle for the frame of the witch's house and then glue them together. I used a glue stick, which does work, but you will probably need to use a lot of glue and put glue on the 3 different corners and then hold it down so the glue starts to hold in place. And Miss Andrea gave me a really helpful hint, which was when you're waiting for the glue to dry, put your popsicle stick frame underneath the heavy book. Put the book on top, and then it'll weight it down and it'll press it all together, and then it'll help the glue to dry. So do that first. Attach your popsicle sticks into a triangle. Put it under a book if you would like. I did, and it worked really well. And then let that dry. And then once it's dry, it doesn't take too long to dry, but once it's dry, you can look for the craft paper in your kit, and that's going to be the inside of the house. So you will cut it out so it'll be a little bit smaller than your triangle, and then glue it on the back. So if you glue this on, I put that back under the book and let that dry too. And then after that, look for the black paper in your kit, and you can kind of roof out if you'd like, a door. We'll give you some paper. You can use scraps to make a window if you'd like. You can use the scraps from this kind of craft paper, the scrapbooking paper. You can make a chimney with it, whatever you would like to decorate your house with. And we will also throw in, what did I do with them? We will throw in, oh, here they are. We will throw in some foam pieces. Some of them might be self-adhesive like these ones, where you can peel off the back and stick it on that way. Some of them you might have to glue down. So either way, decorate however you would like that way. And I really like good witches, so my houses are pretty friendly. If you would like to make it more frightening, please feel free. You can decorate however you would like. Also in the kit, you can look for these little magnets. So if you would like, these are self-adhesive. You can peel off the back, put a couple of magnets on your house, and hang it up and decorate it with it that way. It's up to you. You can decorate however you would like with your houses. Maybe put them in a little row. You have a little witch house village. It's up to you. And we would all love to see how you decorated, how you decorate your cookies, how you decorate your houses. So please feel free to email us at kids@adamslib.org, and you can take a picture and send it that way. You could bring in a picture. You could bring in your craft and show us. We would be very happy to see it. So friends, I hope you will have fun with this month's kit. Please enjoy. Happy baking, happy crafting, and I will see you next time, everybody. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.